Hello and welcome to Monday Mindfulness. Today we've got more of a kind of dynamic, practical, how to apply mindfulness to your life session. So often we'll sit down and we'll do a practice and we'll go through a specific technique. Today we're going to get a taste of a range of techniques, and the main focus is how we integrate them with our lives and how we make a regular practice that builds on itself and starts to make these natural habits that are in line with our intentions and our peace that creep into the rest of our lives. So this is about habit building, it's about commitment, and it's about finding ways to make space in your life for self-care. So this practice is really a gift to you, and the whole process of committing to this helps us to build trust in ourselves. We're actually showing up for ourselves and proving that we are worth it and that we care about our happiness. And I'm all for helping universal happiness and helping as many people as possible to be vibrant and passionate and empowering them. But that can't be done effectively. I can't give my best to the community if I'm not nourished. So I need to fill my cup and give with the overflow. And a daily practice, while I'm not dogmatic about any practice, a daily practice can be very, very useful in building that consistency, building that trust, and building the qualities that we want to create from our practice and integrating that with the rest of our lives. And this is a dynamic process. There's phases where I'll be very, very intentional and very clear-cut and passionate and deliberate. And there'll be times when that gets too much and I really need to let go and find peace and be in a centered place. So there's lots and lots of different ways, lots of different days, lots of different intuitive guidance that we can get as we start to really settle into our practice. And one of the biggest things that we can do in a daily practice is giving ourselves space to listen, to be able to listen to what our needs are, to be able to listen to any whispers from the body, like is your hip saying that it really needs a stretch and a little bit of light exercise or body work, so that we don't end up with something that is going to be really uncomfortable. So that is a way for us to be able to get an early heads up or any kind of heads up on what our needs are and allowing us to take action on them. So first time in the morning is a fantastic time to practice. I'm a morning person, so I get lots and lots of value out of that, and it lets me be really simple in the morning and just commit to make space for a practice first thing, and it really streamlines my whole day. It basically sets a foundation so I have the capacity to serve at my fullest throughout the day. So that may be a centering meditation. Often it just starts with noticing, listening to the body, noticing, just going with the breath and noticing what hangs around that, what emotions are being held in the body. And I'll often do this as a scan. So I'll wake up, take a few breaths. Often there's a bit of gratitude for just having the ability to take these breaths there. And then I'm noticing any details in the body. Is there anywhere that wants a bit of yoga, that wants a bit of a stretch? Is there anything that needs any kind of adjustment? Is my emotional body showing me that something's going on? Is it still residue from a dream? Is it what I've been carrying over the last day or week? Is it something that I'm excited about or aware of for today? So I tune into the physical body, I tune into the emotional body, and from that practice of just doing a general check-in in the morning, I can be really honest with myself about what's happening physically, emotionally, mentally. And that is a fantastic way to get perspective. So that just helps me to notice, where am I at today? And from that, I could adjust my day. So if I wake up in the morning and I'm feeling really tired and flat, maybe I'm coming down with some sort of flu or cold or something, that's going to adjust my day. And taking space to just really honestly check in with that, I can notice some subtleties as well. Sometimes I'll feel a bit down in the morning, but when I actually look at it, maybe it's related to something emotional. Maybe if I'm just feeling like a bit of tension, I might drink some water while I'm doing this check-in and notice that, oh yeah, I'm starting to come good, but at least it's honestly opening, totally accepting what's happening in the body and flowing with that, and just being really gentle and transparent with ourselves about what's happening. And yeah, sometimes I might wake up and I'm feeling rather emotional about something, and often that's trying to teach me something. That's a real lesson that I may have tried to ignore, but given this space in the morning, I can get some perspective on that and really say thank you for that teacher. So this process can then often dictate what's going to happen next, because I try to block at least the first half an hour of my morning, and this is not dogmatic, it's just general. I feel like the body and the way that I function tends to be crisper, clearer, more effective, more enjoyable when I'm doing a morning practice. So I block time for that. So once I've done a bit of a general check-in, this may be a short one, it may be an extended one, depending on the day. If I feel like I just need to conserve energy and sit, I'll often stay in that check-in for half an hour or even an hour, depending on my day. So often what will happen, more often than just staying with the check-in, is to get up and do some yoga. And that could be started by doing some 5 Tibetans. Personally, I like to get moving before I do stretching. So I tend to do a little bit of a workout, body weight workout. TRXs are great as well. Walking is fantastic. Whatever it is, I like to do some exercise and some yoga. And then I'll often go and do some either more Kundalini yoga or some seated meditation, where I can look at any number of things and sit with any number of things and really do a committed practice. And that could involve mantra depending on the day, it could involve breath work, it could be simple mindfulness. So there's a lot of areas where this daily practice can touch areas in our life, and it can also help me to be more aware of what my priorities are, what skills are involved in my priorities, and really investing in nourishing those skills and those abilities and making space to involve myself in the things that I'm passionate about. So it helps me to get perspective on my day going in. Another area where a morning practice is really useful is starting by example with presence. And I like to call this presence in action. And it's a reminder that I used to have on my wall about really focusing on presence in action and living presence. And I find this is such a graceful way to live when we're really, really close to the moment and consciously using our resources, consciously using our energy, consciously using the mind, consciously engaging with our environment and the amazing, beautiful beings around us. So this conscious presence can be very, very useful. I love to do conscious presence while I'm eating as well. So we've got at least 3 chances to eat during the day, and what an opportunity to really remind ourselves of presence as we eat. So we can do that with a water bottle, and this is one thing that I'd like to show you is when I come out of my morning practice, I tend to be a little bit in slow motion, generally. Sometimes I like graceful fast motion, so to be able to be really relaxed and still move quickly, that's a really, really beautiful practice, but often I'm in slow motion, especially if I'm building a new skill or building a new habit. And for an example, with the eating side of things or the drinking side of things, once I've done my morning practice, then it spills into the day and naturally unfolds into the day. So it could be a bit of a conscious awareness of what are my priorities for the day? What matters to me today? Where am I going to invest these beautiful moments, these fleeting breaths that this body has? So I can get awareness with that. I can presently drink some water. And that's in slow motion. My body is like, are you sure about water right now? But you can very slowly, with awareness, have some water. So it's as simple as just slowing down and really connecting the hand with this water bottle. Slowly opening the lid. And with practice, this becomes easier and faster. It's not really that slow, but the feeling of presence and engagement with the moment that I feel right now, like I can definitely feel the cold in my hand and the weight, and my whole body is adjusting to this. My mouth is feeling a little dry right now. And I'm very, very grateful for that sip of water. And this is that slow motion mindfulness. And there's no reason for me to rush anything. And it's a matter of slowly building that habit so that we can consciously, presently engage as we're moving around our regular day. So we can stay engaged and stay active in the moment. Staying conscious. So that's a habit that we can build spilling out of our morning practice. Another thing that I love to do as a daily practice is, I spoke earlier about us having really passionate priorities and skills that are areas that we're really, really excited about and that we really enjoy to spend time on. So just the process of present reading. So taking time every day as a practice to presently, mindfully read and engage in the skills that make our hearts sing. You're worth it. Making you a priority. This is what this daily practice is about. And the body can resist these things and the mind can resist these things, especially at first. And what I'd like to remind you is that you are worth it. And it gets easier with practice. So the more that you engage on your passions and priorities, the more that you build this habit of committing to a practice and being more present and being more aware and accepting and loving of ourselves and all of our experiences, the easier it becomes, the more natural it becomes. So given your life, your schedule, there's likely pockets where you could fit a practice in. And it could be as simple as walking from the train or the bus or your car to where you're engaging with people through the day. If you work in an office, if you are dropping off kids at school, whatever your movement is, you can make that movement actually a moving meditation, engaging with the feet, noticing what the hips are doing, feeling what the air and the weather is doing. So that's one way to engage these things. Another thing that you can do is to set a timer on your phone and look at, okay, what reminder would I really like to have? One of my favorites is 1 to 10, how serious am I? Or what really matters? Or how excited are you to share this priority? just reminding myself of what matters. But also, sometimes I might go through a phase of getting distracted or getting caught up in things. So I might set a reminder that says, what does my breath feel like? Or what are my feet doing? To really say, okay, getting in this moment again. Because the more that we tell stories, the further away from presence we often get. So there's lots and lots of ways to integrate this into your life. If you're waiting in your car or you're driving somewhere, present listening to music and present singing to music is an absolutely amazing practice that I adore. And these are actually deeply spiritual practices that can often be overlooked. And if we just bring presence to them, they become something that's very, very powerful and dynamic in our lives. Another area where I love to practice is coming into or out of a building. So not only the walking process, but I love to be really, really conscious of opening door handles. That's one thing that I've made myself very conscious of and very aware of through this practice. And we slip up at times. It's natural, it's human, and we're not going to remember every time. And that's the essence of mindfulness, to be able to be graceful and factual and honest with ourselves and loving with ourselves regardless of what's happening. So we're completely accepting while being present and proactive and all of these other things. So we build that habit of acceptance. So for example, if I'm walking to a door, generally I'm wanting to be present with my hands contact on the door. That for me is the main focus there in that moment. But in that, because I've practiced it so much, in that practice of connecting with the door handle and getting present there, I'm already consciously aware of being completely open and being embracing of what I'm walking into. So really reminding myself to unconditionally love everyone who's there and to show up for everyone who's there, including myself. So I'm walking into a new room and consciously bringing present openness to that new room. So that's another really powerful practice that I adore. There's many, many ways to embed practices into your day. I also do an evening practice most evenings, and often that'll be some very relaxed music that I'd like to embrace in that process, and a bit of a check-in and a bit of a feeling of gratitude for the day. But sometimes I'll also do a formal sitting practice in the evening as well, often around breath work, often around letting go. I'm not going to do anything too active in the evening. For me, generally, I like to wind down. Sometimes I'll do candle gazing in the evening as well. But yeah, generally wind down kind of activities where I can let go. Sometimes at the start of that practice, I'll do a little bit of review of the day and look at what I've learned from there, but then I'll generally fairly quickly ramp into just a completely peaceful relaxation meditation that can just make me feel very cozy and ready to go to bed. So there's many, many ways to embed a daily practice. You are so worth it. And I'd love to hear not only what your practices are, but also how you feel about them and how they've affected your life, how they felt comparing doing them for one day as opposed to 2 weeks, and all of these other dynamics of how it may have affected your life. Because I know for me, I have never had a daily practice that doesn't creep into my life in some way, and often in many ways. So yeah, I'd love to hear back from you about it. If you have any questions, please let me know. And thank you so much for making you a priority and sitting through this video. And this video is all about your practice. It's not so much about experiencing these practices that we've talked about in this moment, but it's really about encouraging you to dive in and explore your own practice. And there's plenty of other videos for tips for practices if you want one. But yeah, this is really about making a commitment to you and really showing up for yourself and being honest with yourself. So thank you for investing in you. Namaste.